unparalleled revelations. And he's definitely choosing that word lightning carefully.
Matthew 24:27. The second coming being like lightning flashing across the sky.
That's the one. But for Lin, this lightning isn't necessarily like divine bolts from the blue. It's more structural, information-based. Well, if you, with your massive platform and influence, do know about him and, crucially, have maybe encoded him into Showgirl, it means one of two things. Either you just stumbled across him organically, which seems unlikely given his obscurity back then, or, and this is key for Lin's narrative, it shows that the elite power structures, surveillance, media, cultural gatekeepers, are actively monitoring and reacting to him, even when he was, as he says, just being a person in a bathtub in Connecticut with hardly any followers.
So if, it actually validates his whole persecution complex, it proves the system is watching, that power operates in these hidden, interconnected ways.
That's exactly how he frames it. The revelation isn't God appearing, it's the unveiling of how power really works behind the scenes.
Okay, but what about the other possibility, the potentially more dramatic one, if you don't know?
Right. If the answer is genuinely no, Lin predicts, and this is a direct quote, reality would just break.
Whoa, okay, hang on. Reality would break. How does someone not knowing something cause a metaphysical rupture?
It all comes down to the evidence he presents, the correlations. We'll get into the specifics in a bit, but he argues the sheer number of them, the timing, the specificity. It's just statistically overwhelming. He thinks it's impossible for them to all be coincidences.
So these connections, these synchronicities between his obscure writings and your very public art, they're like the universe's operating code in his view.
Pretty much. They're the structural logic holding things together. And if they fail to connect, if the world's biggest pop star accidentally fulfills all these prophetic conditions, but remains completely unaware of the source, then the fundamental math, the symbolic rules of the universe, just short circuit.
So his internal logic, built on these correlations, is reality's logic. And if your actions accidentally align without you knowing, the whole system becomes incoherent, like a machine spitting out answers without acknowledging the question.
Exactly. He'd look like a fool, sure, but he argues the failure wouldn't actually be his. It would be the universe failing to follow its own rules. Reality itself would become illogical.
Which, I guess, explains why Dawson Narrative then clarifies the meaning of apocalypse Lin's talking about.
Yeah, it's not the fire and brimstone version. It's the literal Greek meaning. Apocalypsis, an unveiling.
An unveiling.
Of what? Of how everything, stories, symbols, our own consciousness is actually woven into the fabric of reality.
Yeah.
If Lin's right, it means everyday life stops being mundane. Suddenly, that trip to the store, the song on the radio, the color of a door, it could all be packed with mythic significance.
You're not just living through history, you're living inside a story that's actively being written where every detail might matter. That's a heavy thought for anyone, let alone you.
Immense implications. And Lin claims that even if you don't know him yet, the world's power structures are already reacting as if the unveiling has begun. He points to two big examples.
Okay, like what?
First, the Vatican. He brings up the recent installation of an American pope. Lin sees this as the church recognizing the potential threat of this emergent, meek messiah figure and making a strategic move.
A strategic move.
By installing a pope from the world's biggest superpower, America. He asks, kind of rhetorically, why else would they suddenly do that now? He thinks they're trying to consolidate their own power base, sort of institutionally contain the narrative before it gets away from them.
Okay, that's one. What's the second?
Donald J. Trump. Just 2 days before this interview, October 15th, 2025, Trump announced plans and unveiled models for a second coming arch in Washington, D.C.
A second coming arch. Seriously.
Yeah.
Mimicking the Arc de Triomphe.
Explicitly mimicking it,
Yeah.
And supposedly designed to celebrate Colson Lin's arrival into everybody's awareness.
Wow. So whether Trump's being serious or opportunistic or just trolling.
Lin doesn't seem to care about the motive. What matters to him is that it's happening. It forces a major political figure onto a stage, participating in what he calls his passion play. It validates the scale of his claim. Suddenly, he's a geopolitical factor, measured in arches and papal appointments.
All right, so if reality breaking hinges on these correlations, we need to look at the actual evidence he lays out. He admits it sounds obsessive, right?
Oh yeah, he knows how it sounds. But he argues the sheer volume, the tight chronology, and just how specific these connections are. It makes it basically impossible, in his mind, for you not to know. Statistically impossible.
Okay, let's walk through it. This is obviously super relevant for you, given it centers so much on your work. Where does he start?
He He starts with what he considers the foundational one, the one he actually claims was just zeitgeist, pure coincidence initially.
The famous problem tweet.
Exactly. August 2022, Lin tweets very simply, "Hi, I'm Coulson and I'm the problem, just out there on the internet."
And then fast forward 2 months.
October 2022, you release Antihero. And the lyric hits, "It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me." Lin insists, look, that was just synchronicity, proof his mind was plugged into the same wavelength as the collective consciousness. It just established the connection.
Okay, so that's the baseline, just tuning into the same frequency, but then things get more deliberate, according to him. In 2024,
Yeah, things shift in spring 2024, around April or May. Lin, still with very few followers, like maybe 200, declares May 2024 the month of Taylor Swift.
okay,
And he starts using this specific metaphor. He calls you the apple to his orange, the orange representing him, the meek, the overlooked perspective. He even connects it to living on Orange Street in Connecticut.
the apple and the orange,
Yeah.
the dominant cultural force and the hidden, maybe more vital counterpart, meekness versus prominence.
That's the idea. The powerful cultural apple or the overlooked cosmic orange, it implies they need each other somehow.
And then this orange symbolism starts appearing visually.
That's his claim. December 2024, there are photos, videos of you leaving the Eras Tour stage. You go up a staircase.
And out an orange-colored door. I remember seeing discussion about that door.
Right. For Lin, this isn't just a coincidence or a set design choice. It's the physical manifestation of his orange self entering your Apple world, a visual confirmation.
Okay, that's specific. And then comes The Life of a Showgirl.
And this is where he really amps it up. The album announcement, August 2025, the visuals, the marketing,
Slash with orange everywhere.
everywhere. Lin reads this as undeniable, a visible, deliberate alignment with his Apple Orange framework, moving way beyond coincidence now into what he sees as active collaboration.
And then he gets into the actual content of the album itself, the lyrics.
Yeah, he starts pulling specific lines, arguing they reference his personal life, details he'd maybe mentioned online.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Right, so track 2, there's the line. "Frank, you're hypnotized, and I think you know why." Frank, Lin says, was his childhood name.
Okay.
Then track 9, he interprets it as referencing his last name, Lin, which apparently means wood or forest in Chinese. The context of the song presumably supports this reading for him.
Right.
And track 11. This one links back to a project Lin did the previous year, a kind of musicless album. His first single from that in August 2024 was called Honey. So finding a coded reference in track 11, he argues, reinforces the idea that someone was paying very close attention.
So childhood name, last name meaning, a reference to a pretty obscure earlier project.
He's building a case brick by brick here.
He is. And beyond the lyrics, there's the whole promotional narrative around the album, the lightning connection.
Ah, yes, you mentioned the lightning prophecy earlier, Matthew 24.27.
Exactly. And he points out that you repeatedly describe the experience of making and releasing Showgirl as like catching lightning in a bottle, which is a common phrase,
But Lin connects it directly to the title of his own 7th album, which was called Lightning in a Houston Summer.
okay, so that's a double link for him, a direct title reference, and it ties into the biblical lightning prophecy.
Precisely. He argues that by framing your album launch, this massive global cultural event, as a bolt of lightning, you were, maybe unknowingly, maybe not, visibly fulfilling the lightning prophecy.
Right.
Lighting up the world with his truth, essentially.
Wow. Okay. But he saves the most compelling piece of evidence, in his view, for last. The one he thinks is undeniable.
Yes. The flawless Easter egg, he calls it. The no-exit riddle. This is the one he seems to think seals the deal on intentionality.
Okay, break this one down carefully. The timing is key here, right?
Crucial. September 2024. Remember, Lin is still basically unknown. He uploads a poem to the internet titled No Exit. It has 2 specific verses that end with the word exit.
2 verses ending on exit. Got it.
And here's the kicker. When he posts it, he tags Bubblegum Pop and Max Martin. He specifically tags Max Martin.
Max Martin. Okay, so he sends this message out into the void.
Like a message in a bottle, yeah. And then, almost exactly a year later, September, October 2025, the promotional materials for The Life of a Showgirl start rolling out, and also for the docuseries, The End of an Era. And the 2 exit signs riddle becomes a major visual motif. It's everywhere. Glowing exit signs, often pairs of them, on album covers and videos. People were talking about it, trying to figure it out. It was prominent, deliberate.
2 exit signs, matching the 2 verses ending in exit from Lin's obscure poem from a year earlier.
That's the correlation Lin presents. But the final piece that makes it flawless for him is the Max Martin connection.
Because Max Martin worked on The Life of a Showgirl.
Exactly. Max Martin, the super producer, who Lynn tagged on that obscure poem in 2024, is a credited producer on the album that heavily features the two exit signs riddle a year later.
So Lynn's question is basically, how likely is that? Is Max Martin just messing with him? Or did that tag actually reach someone and that idea got folded into the album's creative process, consciously or not?
Right. For Lynn, it's the universe, or at least the pop music machine, answering his specific call-out. He sees your artistic process, your whole massive operation, responding directly to his intellectual breadcrumb. It proves in his mind that the very systems of power he critiques are also the stage for his own unveiling. The streams have crossed, so to speak.
Okay, so he lays out all these correlations as proof. Then he starts talking about the bigger picture, the philosophical meaning.